The alarm blared across United Earth Defense Force headquarters at exactly 3:17 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Captain James Walker jolted awake in his quarters, reaching for his uniform before his eyes were fully open. In his 15 years of service, middle-of-the-night alerts usually meant one thing: asteroids off course or satellite debris needing cleanup. But the urgent tone in Commander Ellis's voice told him this was different. "Captain Walker, report to command immediately. This is not a drill." Walker ran through the corridors, his mind racing through possibilities. Space junk wouldn't cause this level of alarm. A reactor breach on one of the lunar bases. Political tension with the Mars colonies. The command center was in controlled chaos when he arrived. Officers hurried between stations, speaking in hushed but urgent tones. On the main view screen was something Walker had never seen before. "What am I looking at?" he asked, stepping beside Commander Ellis, a stern woman with silver-streaked hair who never showed fear, until now. "It appeared 20 minutes ago," she said, her voice steady but tight. No approach trajectory, no engine signature. It was simply not there. And then it was. The object on screen was unmistakably a ship, and enormous. Its dark hull stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, with angular sections that reminded Walker of ancient Earth naval vessels, but with impossible geometries that seemed to shift slightly when viewed too long. Alien? Walker asked the question everyone was thinking. "Unknown," Ellis replied. "But here's where it gets strange. We sent standard greeting protocols on all frequencies. No response. But then we got this." She nodded to Communications Officer Ben Reed, who tapped his console. A message appeared on a secondary screen. Simple text in perfect English. "Systems online. Guardian vessel activated. Awaiting Defender protocols." It's in every human language simultaneously, Reed explained. English, Mandarin, Hindi, Spanish, even dead languages like Latin and ancient Sumerian. Whoever built this knows us very well. Walker studied the ship. No visible weapons, though something about its design suggested immense power. No external markings except for a simple symbol near what appeared to be a docking bay, a circle with a stylized shield. "Have we tried communicating further?" Walker asked. "Yes," Ellis said. "It responds to direct questions with minimal information. It identifies itself only as the Guardian and states its purpose is to serve the defenders of humanity. It's requested permission to move to a stable orbit around Earth and awaits authorized personnel to board." The room fell silent. An unknown vessel with technology beyond anything humans had built, appearing from nowhere, asking for humans to board it. Every science fiction story suggested this was either humanity's greatest opportunity or its final trap. "The Security Council is meeting now," Ellis continued. "But they want a first contact team ready. That's you, Walker. Your deep space experience and first contact training make you the obvious choice." Walker nodded, though his mouth went dry. His first contact training had been theoretical exercises for a possibility no one truly expected in their lifetime. "Assemble your team. 6 members maximum. Be ready in 2 hours." The approach to the Guardian was tense. Walker had chosen carefully. Dr. Maya Green, xenobiologist. Lieutenant Tom Davis, security expert. Dr. Alex Cooper, physicist. Officer Lisa Ray, communications specialist. And technical specialist Mike Jones, the best engineer on the station. Their shuttle seemed tiny against the massive hull of the Guardian as they approached a bay that had opened silently at their request. "Still no life signs," Green confirmed, checking her scanner. "If there's a crew, they're either shielded or not life as we understand it." The docking procedure was strangely simple, almost as if the ship was designed for human vessels. As they stepped through the airlock, Walker half expected to meet aliens or robotic sentries. Instead, they entered an empty, pristine corridor with soft lighting that activated as they moved forward. "The air is breathable," Green said, Checking her instruments. Perfect Earth, normal composition. Temperature 21 degrees Celsius. That can't be coincidence, Cooper said, running his scanner along a wall. This ship was made for humans. They moved deeper into the vessel, finding more empty corridors and rooms with purposes they could only guess at. Most striking was the technology. Control panels with interfaces that seemed to anticipate their touch, and displays showing information before they asked for it. "Captain," Ray called, standing before a larger door. "I think this is the bridge." The door slid open as Walker approached. The bridge was a spacious command center with stations that looked eerily similar to human designs, but with technology centuries beyond their capabilities. As they entered, systems activated, holographic displays flickering to life around the room. A central console illuminated, and a voice, neither male nor female, but somehow comforting, spoke. "Welcome, Defenders. Guardian vessel is operational and awaiting command authorization." "Who built you?" Walker asked. "Where did you come from?" "This vessel was constructed by humans," the voice replied. "Temporal origin classified until command authorization is completed." The team exchanged shocked glances. "Humans built this," Cooper whispered. "That's impossible. We're at least 200 years from this level of technology." Before Walker could ask more questions, alarms blared throughout the ship. A holographic display expanded in the center of the bridge, showing the solar system. At its edge, multiple objects were approaching. Fast. "Warning," the Guardian's voice announced. "Hostile fleet detected. Vrel battle group approaching Sol system. Estimated time to weapons range, 6 hours. Threat assessment. Extinction level event." Walker felt his blood run cold. "What are Vrel? Are you saying Earth is under attack?" "Affirmative. The Vrel are an advanced species dedicated to eliminating potential rival civilizations. Earth has been designated for termination. Guardian vessel was deployed to prevent this outcome." As if to confirm the ship's warning, Walker's comm unit buzzed with an emergency channel from Earth Command. "Captain Walker." Commander Ellis's voice was tight with controlled panic. "Return immediately. Deep space sensors have detected multiple objects approaching at FTL speeds. They're not responding to hails, and their configuration suggests weaponry. The Security Council is declaring a global emergency." Walker looked at his team, then at the displays showing the approaching threat. "Tell them we're staying aboard the Guardian. This ship knows what's coming, and I think it might be our only chance to survive it." As Walker said those words, the Guardian's systems fully activated, the ship humming with power around them. "Command authorization accepted," the ship announced. "Guardian protocols initiated. Preparing defensive systems. The defenders of humanity will not fall today." And for the first time in human history, humanity prepared to meet an alien species in battle. 4 hours until the Vrel enter weapons range, the Guardian's voice announced. Captain Walker paced the bridge, watching his team work at stations that seemed to mold themselves to human use. Despite their initial fear, each crew member had found their place on this impossible ship. "Earth Command keeps demanding we return," Communications Officer Ray said, holding her hand to her earpiece. "General Barnes is not happy." Walker nodded. "Tell them we're their best defense right now. Ask them to prepare all orbital platforms and ground defenses." In truth, Walker knew Earth's defenses would be useless against ships that could travel faster than light. Humanity's most advanced weapons were like stone spears against tanks. "Captain, you should see this," Cooper called from what they had identified as the weapons station. He had accessed the Guardian's defensive systems. "These aren't like anything we've ever built. The ship has something called temporal shields and causality weapons." "Can you use them?" Walker asked. Cooper's hands hovered over the console. "That's the strange thing. The interface, it's like it's teaching me. I look at a control, and somehow I know what it does." The others reported similar experiences. The ship wasn't just accepting them, it was training them, faster than any human learning should be possible. "Guardian," Walker addressed the ship directly. Why us? If you were sent to defend humanity, why not bring your own crew? The bridge lights dimmed slightly. This vessel requires human operators with specific mental attributes. You and your team possess those attributes. What attributes? Dr. Green asked. Courage, empathy, sacrifice, the core qualities of defenders. Walker was about to ask more when a new alert sounded. Incoming transmission from lead Vrel vessel. The Guardian announced. Displaying. The main view screen shifted, showing a being unlike anything humans had imagined. The Vrel had a vaguely insectoid appearance, with multiple limbs and compound eyes, but with an intelligence in its gaze that was unmistakable. Its exoskeleton gleamed with embedded technology. When it spoke, the Guardian translated. Humans of Earth. The Vrel commander's words appeared as text beneath its image. I am Supreme Commander Krath of the Vrel Purification Fleet. Your species has been evaluated and found unsuitable for inclusion in the galactic community. On what grounds? Walker asked, stepping forward. The alien's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Your species progresses too rapidly. Your violence is too deeply encoded. Our predictive models show a 94% probability that humans will become a destabilizing force within 300 rotations. The Council of Ascendant Species has authorized your removal. Walker felt cold anger rising. You're here to exterminate us because we might become a problem someday. This is mercy, Commander Krath replied. A swift end rather than the wars your kind would bring to the stars. Surrender your new vessel. Yes, we detect the Guardian ship, and we will make your ending painless. Your core world will be preserved as a nature reserve. The transmission ended abruptly. Like hell, Davis muttered, his hand instinctively moving to where his sidearm would be. Walker turned to his team. Options. We fight, Cooper said simply. The Guardian clearly has capabilities we don't understand. Maybe enough to give us a chance. Against an entire fleet, Ray asked. We're 5 people on one ship. 6 people, Walker corrected, and the Guardian itself seems aware. The odds are irrelevant, the ship's voice stated. This scenario has been calculated. Victory is possible. Walker made his decision. Guardian, what do you need from us to engage the Vrel? Full neural interface is recommended, the ship replied. This will allow optimal response time and weapons coordination. Neural interface. Green looked concerned. You want to connect to our brains. It is temporary and non-invasive, the Guardian explained. But it will allow you to control ship systems with thought speed rather than physical interaction. Walker studied his team's faces, scared but determined. We do it. Show us how. The neural interface was unlike anything Walker had experienced. As the Guardian activated the connection, it felt like his consciousness expanded throughout the ship. He could feel the vessel's systems as if they were parts of his own body. Engines like powerful legs, sensors becoming extended senses, weapons ready like clenched fists. Around him, each crew member underwent the same transformation. Cooper's mind merged with the weapons systems, understanding them instantly. Green connected to life support and damage control. Ray expanded through communications, monitoring thousands of channels simultaneously. Davis integrated with defensive systems, while Jones became one with the engines and power core. They were still themselves, but more, their human minds enhanced by the Guardian's technology. Vrel fleet approaching weapons range, the Guardian announced, though now it felt like the thought came from within Walker's own mind. They have deployed in attack formation. 27 vessels detected. Walker didn't need to give verbal orders anymore. His thought was enough. Battle stations. The Guardian surged forward, its engines pushing it to speeds that should have crushed the humans inside, but the ship's inertial controls kept them stable as they moved to intercept the alien fleet. The first Vrel shots came as streams of energy that Walker somehow knew would disintegrate matter at the molecular level. Through Davis, the Guardian's temporal shields activated, not stopping the attacks but shifting them fractions of a second out of phase with the present, causing them to pass harmlessly through where the ship had just been. "My God," Cooper whispered, though his thoughts echoed to all of them. "They're trying to erase us from existence." "Return fire," Walker commanded silently. Through Cooper, the Guardian fired. Not energy beams or projectiles, but distortions in space-time itself that caused two Vrel ships to intersect their own paths from moments earlier. The resulting collision tore both vessels apart. The neural link let Walker feel the Guardian's cold calculation. This was just the opening move in a complex battle strategy. Earth's defensive platforms opened fire as the Vrel came into range, but their weapons barely scratched the alien hulls. 3 Vrel ships broke formation, heading for Earth's surface. "They're targeting major cities," Ray reported, her consciousness stretched across communications networks. "Moscow, Beijing, New York." "Intercept," Walker ordered. The Guardian responded instantly, moving faster than seemed possible, positioning itself between Earth and the attacking ships. Through Jones, Walker felt the Guardian divert power to a different weapon system. "Causality inversion ready," Jones reported, his voice strained from the mental effort. Fire. A wave of distortion spread from the Guardian, catching the 3 Vrel ships. They didn't explode or break apart. They simply stopped, frozen in space as if time itself had ceased to flow around them. The remaining Vrel ships regrouped, clearly surprised by the effectiveness of the defense. A new transmission came through. "Impossible." Commander Kraft's voice held genuine shock. That technology was theoretical only. "Who are you humans, really?" Walker let himself smile as he responded, speaking for his crew and his species. "We are the defenders of humanity. And we're just getting started." The Vrel commander's compound eyes seemed to narrow. "This changes nothing. You've simply upgraded your extinction from merciful to painful." As the transmission ended, the full Vrel fleet advanced as one, weapons charging. Through the neural link, Walker felt the Guardian's assessment. This would be the real test. "Hold position," he ordered his crew. "Protect Earth at all costs." The Guardian's systems pulsed in response, and Walker sensed something new activating deep within the ship, something that might reveal more about where this vessel had really come from, and why it had chosen humanity to defend. The battle raged for hours. Through the neural link, Walker and his crew fought as one with the Guardian, moving with impossible speed and precision against the Vrel fleet. The alien ships were powerful, but they hadn't expected such resistance from a supposedly primitive species. 7 Vrel ships now drifted as lifeless hulks. The Guardian had taken damage too. Parts of its lower decks were exposed to space, and power fluctuated through its systems, but still it fought on. In Walker's mind, information flowed constantly. Battle data, ship status, crew conditions, all processed instantly. But now, something else was coming through the neural link. Images, memories, not his own. "Captain," Green's voice broke through his concentration. "Are you seeing this too?" The others nodded, their faces showing confusion and fear. In all their minds, they saw the same vision. Earth, but different. Cities in ruins, skies dark with ash. The last humans fighting a losing battle against overwhelming forces. "These aren't fantasies," Cooper said. "They feel like memories." As they fought the Vrel, the visions continued, becoming clearer. They saw a team of scientists working desperately in an underground facility, heard their voices as they argued about time and causality, watched as they poured their knowledge into a massive ship, the Guardian. The vessel carries partial memory imprints, the Guardian's voice explained in their minds. They are becoming accessible as the neural link strengthens. Walker saw a woman directing the final preparations of the ship. She had his eyes. The name tag on her uniform read Admiral Walker. "That's impossible," he whispered. "Not impossible," the Guardian replied. "Merely improbable. She is from a timeline that now will never exist. You're descendant from a future where humanity lost this war. The revelation hit Walker like a physical blow. The Guardian wasn't just from the future. It was a final desperate gamble from a timeline where the Vrel had won. The ship was sent back, Ray said, understanding dawning on her face. To change history. Correct. The Guardian confirmed. The last humans created this vessel as a temporal anomaly, a ship that exists outside normal time. They sent it to this crucial moment, when humanity first encountered the Vrel. More visions flowed through their minds. Billions of humans dying as planet after planet fell to the Vrel and their allies. The final desperate plan to send the Guardian back, knowing it would erase their timeline but might save another. In my original timeline, Earth fell today, the Guardian explained. No defense was mounted. Humanity was unprepared. The survivors were hunted across the stars for 300 years until the last outpost fell. Walker felt the weight of this knowledge. Those future humans had sacrificed their entire reality for this chance. Watch out, Davis shouted, his mind directing the shields to block a concentrated attack from 3 Vrel ships. The Guardian shuddered under the impact. Power reserves at 47%, Jones reported. We can't take much more of this. Walker pulled his focus back to the battle. Questions about time paradoxes would have to wait. Guardian, what options do we have? Through the neural link, the ship showed them a new weapon system, something called a timeline collider. Warning, the Guardian said. This system draws power directly from human neural energy. Use will shorten crew lifespan. Walker understood immediately. The future humans hadn't just built a ship, they had created a weapon powered by human life force itself. How much will it cost us? Walker asked. Estimated 5 years of life per activation at current crew size. His team was silent, but through the link, Walker felt their resolve. 5 years of life against the extinction of their species. It wasn't even a question. Do it, Walker ordered. Power surged through the Guardian, drawing energy not from its engines, but from the life force of the 6 humans linked to it. Walker felt a cold sensation spreading through his body, a faint echo of his own mortality. The view screen showed a wave of temporal energy expanding from the Guardian, washing over the Vrel fleet. Where it touched, ships aged. Metal corroded, systems failed, organic components withered. 4 more Vrel ships drifted powerless. The remaining vessels pulled back, clearly shocked by this new weapon. For a moment, there was an eerie silence in space. Then Cooper called out, new contacts, bigger than the Vrel ships. 3 massive vessels had appeared at the edge of the solar system, each one dwarfing both the Vrel fleet and the Guardian. Their design was different, sleeker, with a sense of ancient power. The Council has arrived. The Guardian's voice had a new tone, something like dread. What council? Walker asked. The Council of Ascendant Species, the true power behind the Vrel. They rarely intervene directly. That they have come means they consider this situation significant. A transmission came through on all frequencies, translated instantly by the Guardian. The being on screen was unlike the Vrel, more humanoid, with luminescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. Humans of Earth, the being spoke, its voice melodic yet cold. I am Overseer Thale of the Council of Ascendant Species. Your resistance is unexpected but futile. The timeline alteration you have attempted is noted and will be corrected. Walker stood straighter, speaking for all humanity. We have the right to exist, to defend ourselves. You have no rights the Council does not grant, Thale replied. Your species has been judged and found wanting. However, your possession of temporal technology is troubling. Surrender the Guardian vessel, and your species will be allowed to live under restrictions. Refuse, and we will erase humanity not just from the present, but from all of history. The transmission ended. Through the neural link, Walker felt his crew's fear and their determination. They had already sacrificed years of their lives. They would give the rest if needed. Guardian, Walker asked, can we win against them? For the first time, The ship hesitated. Unknown. The Council possesses technology far beyond Vrel capabilities. However, victory parameters can be redefined. Meaning? The Guardian was not sent to win a conventional war, the ship explained. It was sent to create a divergent timeline with one difference: humanity survives. Walker nodded, understanding growing. This wasn't about defeating a superior enemy in direct combat. It was about changing the rules of the game. "What do we need to do?" he asked. Through the neural link, the Guardian showed them its final protocol and the ultimate price it would demand from its crew. Walker looked at his team, saw the same resolve in their eyes that he felt in his heart. They had all seen the visions of a future where humanity perished. None of them would let that happen. "Begin final protocol," Walker ordered. "Let's show the Council what humans are really capable of." As the 3 Council ships moved toward Earth, the Guardian began to change, drawing deeper on the life force of its human crew, preparing for the greatest battle humanity would ever face. Final protocol activation in progress, the Guardian announced as energy surged through its systems. Walker felt the ship changing around them. Through his neural link, he sensed parts of the vessel rearranging, like cells in a living organism adapting to a new threat. "What's happening?" Green asked, her voice strained from the energy the ship was drawing from them. "The Guardian is evolving," Jones explained, his engineer's mind understanding the process better than the others. "It's becoming something new." Outside, the 3 Council ships approached in a triangle formation. Each was at least 10 times larger than the Guardian, with weapons that could shatter planets. Earth's remaining defenses would be useless against them. As the final protocol continued, a new set of memories flowed into the crew's minds. The complete story of the Guardian and its mission. They saw the future that had been: Earth destroyed, surviving humans hunted across the stars, species after species falling to the Council's rule. They've done this before, Cooper realized, sorting through the memories. 17 other species with potential wiped out over the past 1,000 years. Ray's eyes widened as she accessed communications memories. The Council doesn't just rule. They deliberately prevent cooperation between younger species. They eliminate any that might challenge them someday. Walker understood then. This wasn't just about saving Earth. It was about breaking a cycle of extinction that had continued for millennia. "Guardian, what exactly is the final protocol?" Walker asked. "Information distribution," the ship replied. "In my original timeline, the last humans discovered the coordinates of all subjugated species and the technical specifications of Council weaknesses. That data was stored within me, to be broadcast at a critical moment." "You're going to tell everyone how to fight back," Davis said. "Correct. But the transmission requires enormous power, more than this vessel can generate alone." Now Walker understood what the ship had been asking of them. "You need our life energy. All of it." There was no hesitation in the Guardian's response. "Yes. Complete neural donation from all 6 crew members will provide sufficient power for galaxy-wide transmission. Survival probability for crew: 0%. The bridge fell silent. Die here, now, or watch humanity and perhaps a dozen other species face extinction. "I'm in," Davis said first, his soldier's heart making the decision simple. "Me too," said Green, though her hands trembled slightly. One by one, they all agreed. Walker looked at his crew with pride. None of them had asked for this mission, but each was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. "We'd do it," Walker confirmed. "But first, we need to buy time for Earth to prepare. Guardian, what offensive capabilities do we still have?" The ship displayed its remaining weapons. Most were drained, but one option remained: a focused temporal shield that could be used as a weapon by inverting its field. "It won't destroy them," Cooper noted, "but it might confuse their sensors long enough for us to get closer." Walker nodded. "Do it." The Guardian surged forward, accelerating toward the massive Council ships. They responded with energy beams that lit up space, but the Guardian's shields held, barely. Shield integrity at 23%, Davis reported. One more hit like that, and we're done. They were close enough now to see details of the Council ships, ancient vessels that had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. Inverting temporal shield. Now, Cooper commanded. The shield turned inside out, sending a wave of distorted time toward the lead Council ship. On their view screen, they watched as parts of the massive vessel seemed to shift between past and future states, systems failing as they experienced both decay and pre-construction simultaneously. It worked, Jones shouted. Their main weapons are offline. Walker didn't waste the opportunity. Guardian, get us behind them. Ray, can you access Earth's defense network from here? Already on it, Ray replied, her consciousness spreading through Earth's communications, patching us through to all military commands worldwide. Walker's voice reached every defense installation on the planet. This is Captain Walker aboard the Guardian. All Earth forces, fire on the Council ships on my mark. Aim for the sections we're highlighting on your targeting systems. Through Ray, the Guardian sent precise targeting data to Earth's missile defenses and orbital platforms. Fire. From Earth came a barrage of missiles and energy weapons. Primitive by Council standards, but perfectly aimed at the weaknesses the Guardian had identified. The wounded Council ship shuddered under the assault. The other two Council vessels moved to protect their flagship, firing at both the Guardian and Earth. One beam hit a defense platform, vaporizing it instantly. We can't win a direct fight, Walker realized. Guardian, how close are we to being ready for the final protocol? Neural interface at 87% capacity. Estimated time to full power, 3 minutes. 3 minutes they might not have. The Council ships were regrouping, their weapons charging for a coordinated attack that would destroy both the Guardian and Earth's defenses. Walker made a final decision. All power to engines. Take us into the middle of their formation. Captain, Jones questioned. We need to be at the center of all three ships when we broadcast. Maximum impact. The Guardian accelerated, pushing between the massive Council vessels before they could react. Alarms blared as their weapons tracked the smaller ship, preparing to fire. A transmission came through from Overseer Thale, his celestial eyes now burning with anger. You cannot change what has been ordained, humans. Your species was never meant to reach the stars. Walker stood on the bridge of the Guardian, surrounded by his brave crew. Years of their lives had already been given to power the ship's weapons. Now they would give the rest. You're wrong, Walker replied. Humanity belongs among the stars. And after today, we won't be alone. He turned to his crew, seeing not fear but determination in their eyes. Guardian, begin final transmission. Tell everyone what the Council has done and how to fight back. The neural interfaces flared white-hot as the ship drew the last of their life energy. Walker felt his consciousness expanding, merging with the Guardian and his crew. Their individual minds became one, then spread further, connecting to the ship's powerful transmission array. As the Council ships fired, the Guardian released its message, not just data, but the memories and experiences of Walker and his crew, the truth about the Council, and detailed technical specifications for fighting back. The transmission reached every corner of the galaxy, awakening species that had lived under Council rule for centuries. Walker's last conscious thought as his physical body failed was a vision of what would come. Ships rising from a dozen worlds, species that had never met joining together, and at the center of it all, humanity. The Council ship's weapons struck the Guardian as its transmission concluded, tearing the vessel apart. But it was too late. The message had been sent. The tide had turned. And on Earth, as the remains of the Guardian fell like a meteor shower through the atmosphere, a new age was about to begin. The remains of the Guardian fell to Earth like 1,000 shooting stars, lighting up the night sky across the globe. People stepped outside their homes, looking up in wonder and fear, not knowing that they had just witnessed the greatest sacrifice in human history. In orbit, the three Council ships hung motionless, Their weapons had destroyed the Guardian, but something unexpected was happening. The temporal energy released when the Guardian was destroyed had created a strange effect. A shimmering barrier now surrounded Earth, rippling like water whenever the Council ships tested it with their weapons. On the lead Council vessel, Overseer Thale watched in growing alarm as reports came in from across the galaxy. The Guardian's transmission had reached everywhere, awakening every subjugated species to the truth. They had been kept weak and divided by design. Impossible, Thale whispered as the first distress calls arrived. On a dozen worlds, rebellions had begun. Species that had lived under Council rule for centuries were rising up, armed with precise knowledge of how to disable Council technology. Thale turned to his advisors. How did they do this? How could one primitive species change everything in a single day? No one had an answer. What the humans had done should have been impossible, yet it had happened. We must destroy this world immediately, Thale ordered, before more damage is done. The Council ships fired their planet-killer weapons at Earth, but the shimmering barrier absorbed every attack. More surprising still, with each blast, the barrier seemed to grow stronger. Thale's chief scientist studied the readings with disbelief. The human's consciousness, it's in the barrier. Those 6 humans from the Guardian. Their minds have somehow merged with the temporal energy. They're protecting their world even after death. As the Council ships continued their futile attack, a new signal came through, from Earth itself. General Barnes stood in Earth Command Center, surrounded by representatives from every major nation. Hours earlier, they had been preparing for humanity's end. Now, they watched in awe as the barrier created by Walker and his crew deflected attacks that could have shattered planets. The Guardian's data was spreading through Earth's systems, translating alien technology and revealing the truth about the galaxy. Most importantly, it showed them how to use the pieces of the Guardian that had fallen to Earth. "We're ready to respond," Barnes said, nodding to the communications officer. On screens worldwide, Barnes addressed humanity, and through the barrier, the Council ships. "I speak for all people of Earth. Captain James Walker and his crew gave their lives not just to save us, but to free every species oppressed by the Council. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten." He turned to the technicians operating the newly assembled communication array, built from Guardian fragments. "Send the second message. To everyone." Across the galaxy, a new transmission spread. The location of Earth, an invitation to the oppressed, and a promise. You are not alone anymore. Together, we stand against those who would decide which species deserves to exist. 1 month later, the first alien ships arrived in Earth's solar system. Not Council vessels, but smaller ships carrying representatives from species that had lived under Council rule for generations. The Mira, with their crystalline bodies. The Vosh, amphibian engineers whose technology rivaled the Council's. Even a delegation of Vrel separatists who had broken from their military government. They came in peace, drawn by the promise in the Guardian's message. A new alliance based on mutual respect and cooperation rather than dominance. Earth had changed in that month. The barrier still protected the planet, but now humans understood its true nature. It wasn't just a shield, it was the consciousness of Walker and his crew, evolved into something new. They had become guardians in the most literal sense, their minds preserving the timeline where humanity survived. At the newly established Unity Station in Earth orbit, representatives from 12 species gathered. General Barnes, now serving as Earth's ambassador, addressed them. "We were not ready for the stars," he admitted, "but circumstances forced our hand. We now know that the Council has ruled through fear and division for thousands of years. They prevented cooperation between younger species because they feared what we might become together." A Vosh delegate raised her webbed hand. "The Council fleet has withdrawn to their core systems. Reports suggest civil war has broken out among the Ascendants. For the first time in living memory, they are vulnerable. We don't seek revenge," Barnes clarified, "but we will ensure they never threaten emerging species again. The meeting continued for hours as the foundation for a new interstellar alliance was formed, not ruled by humans or any single species, but a true cooperative effort, the United Species Alliance. 5 years passed. Earth's technology advanced rapidly with help from their new allies. The first human-built starships were ready, incorporating designs from the Guardian and improvements from a dozen allied species. The flagship of the fleet hovered above Earth, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. On its side, a familiar symbol, a circle with a stylized shield, the emblem taken from the Guardian. Inside the ship, Commander Lisa Ray, the only member of Walker's original team who hadn't been on the Guardian during its final transmission, stood on the bridge. She had been appointed to lead this mission, not just because of her experience, but because of her connection to those who had sacrificed everything. "Ship status?" she asked. "All systems ready, Commander," her first officer reported. "The temporal drive is stable. Ambassador Barnes sends his regards from Unity Station." Ray nodded, looking at the view screen showing Earth below. The barrier still shimmered around the planet, fainter now, but still present. Walker and his crew, still watching over humanity. "Set course for the outer rim," she ordered. "There are 17 more star systems on our list, places where emerging species need protection from what remains of the Council." As the ship prepared to depart, Ray touched the small plaque beside her command chair. It bore just 8 words, "From nowhere for everyone. We are the Defenders." The starship, named Guardian Aya, moved away from Earth, its temporal drive engaging. It carried representatives from 8 species, all united in a single purpose: to ensure that no other civilization faced extinction for the crime of having potential. On the bow of the ship, its name gleamed in multiple languages. But below it was a simpler message, one that every crew member had embraced: "Defenders of humanity, and all who wish to join us." As Guardian Aya vanished into the depths of space, the barrier around Earth pulsed once, as if in approval. Captain Walker and his crew had changed not just humanity's fate, but the future of an entire galaxy. Their sacrifice had turned the tide. And now, the Defenders would make sure it never turned back.